your voice combined with, and this is meant as an extraordinary compliment, kind of the aesthetic of like a Disney character who has been brought to life for a magical day, like I feel like is a big part of what makes you so exciting and interesting as a performer.
I really, really appreciate that, Mickey. Thank you. That is a very, very nice compliment. And I have nothing to say except thank you so much.
Oh my god, hey, my name is Mickey Jo, and I'm a theatre critic, journalist, and content creator here on social media. During my most recent trip to New York, I had the immense privilege of getting to sit down with rising star Andrew Barth Feldman, who made his Broadway debut in Dear Evan Hansen shortly after winning the 2018 Jimmy Awards. In the years since, he's forged an extremely exciting career on stage and screen, all of which has led to his most recent role. Andrew is currently appearing off-Broadway in We Had a World, the latest critically acclaimed play by Joshua Harmon, produced by the Manhattan Theatre Club at New York City Center. The autobiographical play explores the turbulent relationship between the playwright's mother and grandmother alongside his relationship to each of them through the exposing filter of grief. I sat down with Andrew last week to chat about this emotionally intense piece of theatre, the roles which brought him here, and even a few of his most iconic social media moments. Take a look. Oh my god, hey, Andrew Barth Feldman.
Mickey, thank you so much for coming to the show and for coming here to MTC to chat. I'm very glad to be talking to you.
Very happy to be talking to you. I've actually seen you at 2 theatres this week because we saw you here last week, but also we were at the same performance of Maybe Happy Ending.
Were we?
At the Belasco. Yeah.
How many times? Was that your first time seeing it?
That was my third time seeing it.
Third time. Okay, it was my 11th. It's my favorite thing. Yeah, it's what an unbelievable show that is.
Yeah.
We could just talk about that. We should talk about We Had a World.
We should, yeah.
But Maybe Happy Ending is pretty perfect.
But then after that, we came here to New York City Center, to Manhattan Theatre Club's production of We Had a World, that you are starring in off-Broadway. Your first New York play?
My first New York play. It's my second play I've ever done in my life. The only other one was I was already in Lost in Yonkers when I was like 13 at the Rockaway Theater Company. That's it. So it's a thrill.
How did you come to this particular show and to this role?
I did a reading. I I think less than a year ago with Joanna and Josh and Tripp, and loved it. It was just an afternoon, and I think that was for sort of everybody to audition. You know what I mean? Like for them to audition me for the role, also for me to see if this was a nice role for me and if I loved the play, and both worked out. I loved the play. It's really rare that my agent is always coming to readings that I do. I've been with my agent since I was 15, Jamie Pillett at WME. She's incredible. And she came to the reading, and it's very rare that we leave one of those and she's like, this one you should do. And I was like, oh, really? Great. I want to do a play. I want to do a play with Joanna. I want to work with Tripp and Josh. And this role is just extraordinary. On the page, it's meant to be so alive every day. The interaction with the audience, the connection with the other two actors. So there were really very few questions around saying yes.
Yeah. It was really exciting when it was announced because I've become such a huge Joshua Harmon fan through Bad Jews and Admissions and Pref the French Republic and so many others. And then to see yourself attached to it, I was like, that's a really fun and unexpected combination of people. And you're essentially, to some degree, playing him in what is a very revealing and honest and kind of autobiographical work. There must be an intimidation factor associated with that.
He set the tone. And so, no, there wasn't. He has been so warm from the beginning. He does leave me really mean notes. There's a note on my dressing room mirror that says, you do know how worthless you are, don't you? Which is him sort of to the character. Like, it's sort of like this, it's his own nature to self-efface, imbuing me with that. And there's notes in my notebook on stage that are notes from him to me. There's thoughts on every supporting actress winner of the Oscars in the 1990s and his thoughts on them. Like that's so much of what he gave me and made so easy and accessible to sort of, he's like, I'm sort of making fun of myself in writing this play. So welcome into that process.
Yeah.
So no, it was very rarely intimidating. If anything, it was buoyed by the fact that he was in the room and he was there. If he wasn't and he was just some shadowy figure, I'd be like, shoot, Josh is coming today. Maybe I've really got to show up. But no, he was such a massive part of the process.
And where in the piece do you find kinship to it? What in this character and in this journey speaks to you personally?
Yeah, I mean, big question of the piece, or at least the question in the writing of it, is if you can conjure the ghost of somebody that you've lost, what is the best use of 100 minutes of that time? And that's a question that we all have. It's one I certainly have. I mean, my family is sort of marked with loss throughout my whole life. So to every day ask that question and ask the sort of smaller symptomatic questions that come from that, only a good play can really do that. So that's the easiest connection point. My grandmother passed when I was 9. My mom passed when I was 16. So I don't have the kind of relationship to either of them that Josh got to have as an adult.
Yeah.
So part of doing the play every day is fulfilling the idea of what that could have been like and imagining it. And then another part of it is just because they're not my circumstances, I put myself fully in Josh's circumstances and the immediacy of the performance.
We'll talk more about We Had a World and this brilliant piece and your performance in it. I want to talk a little bit about the performances and the shows and the moments that brought you here, which I guess from a public perspective kind of commenced with the Jimmy Awards.
Yeah.
And what of that whirlwind stands out as sort of the fondest memory from what I'm sure is now a very dizzying thing to look back on?
Dizzying's the word. It was very dizzying in the moment. It was like that, the way my life changed. I mean, the moment I had that thing in my hands was the moment my life changed, because then we went to Planet Hollywood for the after party and I was talking to Tara Rubin and Bernie Telsey and all of these people that I had felt were giant shadows cast on my fandom, my love of this thing. I remember finally I got away from everybody. Like, I was able to walk around without anybody stopping me and get to the buffet table and make myself a plate of mac and cheese by myself. Nobody was bothering me. And I had this look on my face, this like deep shock within my soul that I couldn't hide. And I remember one of the fathers of one of, I assume, other nominees walking by me as I had this plate of mac and cheese just sort of standing there saying, "Stop acting so surprised," and walked by. And that was the moment I was like, okay, I have to go back into this party and just like take this moment as it is. That's a very fond memory. But the whole week was incredible. I mean, I made friends that I keep to this day. Met some of the most talented people I'll ever meet in my life, and it's Broadway boot camp. It really is. It's, I think, 8, something like that. Now I forget. 8 really intense days. I went into it with a perspective of, I'm never going to win. That's something very much given to me by my family. It's like, you're not going to win, but how amazing is this thing?
Yeah.
So I try to I get to talk to the nominees every now and then. I try to every year. I ask them to let me every year. And the thing I remind them is that the stakes of their life will never be lower than this moment. You are so young. You are being taken care of by this moment, and you're about to make your Broadway debut. Yeah. So you're about to stand on this giant stage in front of people who love you and are rooting you on. And maybe you'll win, but like, no, you won't. You won't. If I'm speaking to the group as a whole, I can say with certainty, you're not gonna win. Yeah. So enjoy this moment. It's remarkable. It really was for me. Yeah. Pure joy.
And there's so many brilliant talents, some of whom won, and some of whom were just involved in it. Jasmine Amy Rogers in Boop, sensational.
I'm hearing the most amazing things about her performance. We've crossed paths a few times. She's incredible. Sam Premack, who is one of my best friends in the world. He's my understudy in We Had a World. He's remarkable. He was my understudy in Dear Evan Hansen. That's how we met. He was a finalist the year before me at the Jimmy Awards. Look up his performance. Look up like all of his high school performances. He's crazy. I mean, Antonio, Ava Noblezada, Casey Likes, this amazing, of course. And it's. I hope that doesn't put pressure on these. That's what I get worried about, is that these young people are like, I've got to. If I'm not auditioning for Dear Evan Hansen tomorrow, I'm screwed. Yeah. You know, I think there is some of that attitude, and it scares me. You gotta also be young. You have to.
I think high school theatre kids will always have that level of intensity. They'll rise to the tide of wherever it is. If the Jimmy Awards exist, then that's the thing they'll be aiming for. If it's
100%.
just getting Evan Hansen whenever the high school productions start rolling out, then it would be that
is what
same
they
level.
need, and they cannot accept anything else. That's true, and I relate to that also. That's definitely true. I understand that.
Yeah. So then, Dear Evan Hansen
Yeah.
was this incredible, like, presumably pretty overwhelming thing that happened next. One of my favourite moments from which is that video of yourself and Sam Tutty with two other Evan Hansens from Canada from the North American tour doing the For Evan cover of For Forever.
Yeah, that was crazy, and that has lasted in this really beautiful way. It's a show that before I was a massive fan of. I mean, I saw it for the first time when I was 14. I lost my mind. It said something to me that I had yet to be able to articulate about myself. So for that to be a really big part of the show's legacy now is remarkable. And shooting it and recording it was very strange because I was the only one who had to do a show that night.
I spoke to Sam about it, and I got to chat to him backstage in the West End this time last year. And he said, like, he's fantastic. He's lovely. He said, thank goodness I didn't have to then do the show that evening, because you then had to go and do the version without the harmonies and without the three other people
That's
going,
true.
shine on my face.
Yeah, which by the way, what a gorgeous arrangement. The way that all worked, Steven was on a break right before he was going on tour. Robert, I think, had just finished the Canadian production, and Sam was in New York to rehearse. That's why. So it was this weird moment where we were all there. But because I was there to be doing the show, I recorded the vocals separately from everybody else. I did it like a week earlier. So I went into the studio with Lack, and he was like, we might add some harmonies. Not really sure. But just like sing this like straight thing, and then like we'll try a couple little differences, but like we're not sure. I didn't hear it until we were on set to film the video. And I was like, oh, this is, first of all, astounding. It's an amazing arrangement. But then you watch that video and the three of them are really singing it, and I'm not. I'm lip syncing it because I have to do the show that night. So I look like I'm singing the hardest because I'm like pretending to sing. So I'm like, and they're just like singing the song. It looks a little stupid, but I love that video. I check in with it every like year and a half. I'll watch it again.
And we're going to know that every time now, watching that back.
I'm lip syncing and they're not. That is true.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite, like, just sincere, great musical theatre moments on YouTube. And some of my other favorites of yours that are no less musically brilliant, but the littlest bit less sincere. The Yacht Rock Popular.
Yes, third reprise or third reprise, as Dan. We've discussed it. He is Dan Rudin, who made that arrangement, and third reprise as a whole. Keep tabs. He's amazing. They're doing amazing things. I'm proud to be like an early adopter of being a part of that. But it is an amazing thing that they're setting out to do. That Defying Gravity video is crazy, and that Popular video was just a blast. I will follow him into the depths of hell. He's incredible.
Yeah. Lots of talk about whether or not the new movie ending of Popular might get integrated into the Broadway show or whatever, because they're doing it in non-replica productions now. And not enough talk, I think, of the Yacht Rock Popular being integrated.
Thank you. Maybe a whole Yacht Rock production of Wicked?
Entire Yacht Rock. I was not familiar with Yacht Rock beforehand because...
I'm very glad to have been your introduction because Yacht Rock is my favorite genre of music. That is true. I have playlists and playlists of Yacht Rock. There is something so campy but sincere and like men having feelings. Like that's what Yacht Rock, good Yacht Rock really is. Like, let's just relax and let's just talk. That's Yacht Rock. I love it.
I think it typifies you quite well as a performer as well, because it has this relaxed quality, but then the melismatic things that you can do vocally. There was a riff that you did in Goodbye at the Jimmy's that I saw a comment at one point that you shared that you just don't even, like, there was a blackout moment and you have no recollection of even doing it. But I think your voice combined with and this is meant as an extraordinary compliment, kind of the aesthetic of like like a Disney character who has been brought to life for a magical day, like I feel like is a big part of what makes you so exciting and interesting as a performer.
I really, really appreciate that, Mickey. Thank you. That is a very, very nice compliment. And I have nothing to say except thank you so much.
Yeah, I guess which brings us to the kind of the iconic event that was the Ratatouille.
Yep.
Which I just remembered walking over here and was like, we have to touch upon it.
Talk about it's probably my favorite thing in my so-called career to discuss because it was just about 14 hours of my life filming that alone in a room during the pandemic. And from all of those people spending less or more time than I to make that thing, we made the closest thing we had to a Broadway musical in that time. Like I was really, when we sat down to watch it, my family and I, expecting it to be silly and sort of like, all right, it's kind of a mess, but it is what it is. And the overture started and I cried. And you hear that story a lot from people because it was earnest. It was an earnest, heartfelt musical made by creative committee, made by these freaking kids on TikTok, putting these songs together and somebody saying, I think this is I think this is one thing, let's make it one thing. And it's just this gorgeous moment in time that if you were there, you were there. And people, it's my favorite thing to be like stopped on the street about, and people at stage doors give me Ratatouille gifts and things like that. It's the best. It's such a cool thing to be a part of.
You've been doing, really interestingly, this combination of returning to the stage, but also a lot of really exciting major screen work happening as well, which is something that not everyone is able to navigate, certainly as early in their careers as you've been doing. I just watched the Saturday Night Movie recently on a flight over here.
Cool. Oh,
Your
great.
film No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence. My question out of this is, with so many movie stars taking to the stage, especially this Broadway season, George Clooney opening this week, and Robert Downey Jr., and Jake and Denzel, and so many other people, is there a on-screen co-star of yours who you think should do a play in New York, possibly with you?
Well, Cooper Hoffman is doing one right now. Cooper Hoffman is in Curse of the Starving Class, and he's magnificent in it. And he may very well be my favorite actor I've ever worked with, to work with. He is brilliant. We just filmed another movie. We met doing Saturday Night and just filmed another movie together. So he's already doing it. He's already here. It's actually his first time doing theater in his life. And I really want to do something with him, and we've talked about it a lot. So I'd really, really like to do something with him. I think Jen would really love theater if she ever wanted to give it a try. But first, she has to be a mother, and that's very important.
Yeah.
But she's just so great and so alive, and I would take any opportunity to work with her again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So many of the people in the cast of Saturday Night are just brilliant, brilliant actors that I would love to see on stage. This thing about, so many celebrities here, if you can do it, do it. If you're gonna get up there 8 times a week and tell the story you're trying to tell, freaking go for it. Welcome to the community.
Is there anything to be said about working on screen, working on Broadway, and then kind of this midpoint, which is working in an intimate space like this, or like the West Side, where you were doing Little Shop with Sarah, and sort of the immediacy, and the difference, I guess, being the palpable connection with the audience, especially in this play.
Yeah.
But also everything kind of being that little bit more naturalistic as well.
I mean, they're all really different. Every film project is different from each other. Every theater project is different from each other. The gap between film and theater is massive, I have to say. In theater, we are coming to see an audience just as much as an audience is coming to see us. And with this play, especially with We Had a World, it is so immediate. And Little Shop felt so immediate. This is exponentially more immediate because I'm making eye contact. I'm looking people in the eyes. I'm changing the performance based on what one person in the audience gives me at any given moment. Trying to compare that to Dear Evan Hansen, which was my first experience of doing anything, that felt like I was just there with my scene partners. There's an energy from the audience that is its own ephemeral thing that can't be quantified. Maybe scientists will figure it out one day, but it is absent from film. There is an immediacy to film because the camera's right there, but you know when it's your coverage, you know when you've got to be on, and you know when you don't really have to be on, and you've got to do it for your scene partner, but there's just a flame that isn't lit in the same way that happens on stage. This is by far the most immediate thing I've ever done professionally. And I'm reveling in it. It's a real joy.
There was an amazing moment when we saw the show on Wednesday night. Janine had a line where she shares the quote from Jackie O.
Yeah,
And,
you were there.
Yes. And she said that, and an audience member was so moved to agree that they said audibly, "Yep." And she pointed at them. She was like, "That lady knows what I'm talking about."
I got a big laugh. I looked over at the person like, we don't need your. We don't agree with her right now. No, it's like I don't want to incentivize people being vocal during our play, but it is really a delight in the few moments that it happens, because it has happened now a few times, because there are moments where I ask the audience questions. Can I tell you about this? Can I tell you about that? And there have been times where people say yes. There have been times where one person laughs really hard at one particular thing because it touches them in a specific way, and we can't keep going until we acknowledge it. We are here in the room. There is no fourth wall. There isn't one. Which is a lot of responsibility for an audience also that can't really be communicated in any way except for through the play itself. So it's a very special exchange to be on this side of, to be this sort of pilot of every day.
Before we close the book on chat about the world of film, there is one more dimension to your work as a musical theatre performer who has done stage and screen, which is at some point being in, and you've lent your voice to the new Snow White live action, but a fully fledged movie musical. And I think, I've been saying for a long time, I'm going to pitch you this, because obviously you get to decide, obviously. I think if we're going to do a film version of Kimberly Akimbo, I think yourself and like Meryl Streep makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right, fine, I'll do it. Fine. That's a great idea.
I think so.
I would love to do that, especially given how inspired I was by Mr. Justin Cooley's brilliant Tony-nominated performance. He is magnificent, continues to be magnificent, dear friend of mine. Oh my God, that would be amazing. And Meryl would be so good. Right? Meryl would be amazing. Sure.
Will you many film producers watching? I'll make some calls.
Give her a call.
But returning to We Had a World and how extraordinary all of it is. It's such a brilliant company that you're in. I mean, getting to, just for myself, being in the same room as Joanna Gleason, who is an icon in the world of musical theatre, Into the Woods, one of the most meaningful things I've ever seen. Her performance right up there in that. I just had to take stock just to kind of be able to keep breathing. But you get to share such miraculous material with her.
That's right. These really simply joyful, love-filled moments that we have together and continue to play with and investigate every day and just find as much love. We're just like squeezing as much love out of these scenes as we can. And there's a darkness to that, as you'll see in the play, but it is only joyful to perform with her every day. She's magnificent, and she's a magnificent person, and she's really the leader of our company, and she does it effortlessly and brilliantly and with so much love.
Finally then, what is the thing about it that is there anything you feel you're getting to do for the first time in this, other than this being your first play in New York? Because it's, like we were saying before, you're not having to think about singing and warming up vocally, and so it's in a smaller space, it's not the elaborate costuming, it's not all of the sort of the high pressure elements of a Broadway show.
Yeah, oh man. Theater is meant to be alive every day, and that's the challenge. When you're doing a musical or even a play that is maybe more contained than our play is, it becomes a machine. It just does. At some point, it is a machine. It is kept alive by virtue of the fact that the people putting it on are quite literally living inside of it. And thus it will always be more alive than film or television. It will always be. But I've only replaced, so far in my career, I've only ever replaced in musical theater, and by that point the machine's already working.
Yeah.
And you insert yourself into that machine and say, how can I infuse this with as much life as possible? That's not my job here, because here we are at the outset of this play that is, in the writing of it and in the performing of it, so alive. It demands to be alive in the different ways that we ask and answer the major questions of the play. It is more alive by the audiences that come in being some completely different every day, both individual members of the audience and as an aggregate. They are completely different every day. So we have to be completely different every day if we're listening to our scene partners, you. So that is extraordinary. It's kind of the dream of what theater is meant to be as opposed to the other stuff. So I've never gotten to do that, and I think very few people really have, especially in this century. So I just feel incredibly lucky. And that it's so small, it's just 3 of us keeping the ball in the air. That is rare. And I'm really lucky.
It's a tremendously special play. It's been really acclaimed. Everyone has been telling me how excited they've been to go and see it. I hope it continues to bring you all huge success, and I wish you so much luck for the rest of the run.
Thank you so much, Mickey. This was wonderful.
Thank you for taking the time to chat to me. It's very appreciated.
This was a blast. This was awesome. Seriously, what you're doing, not to, I am going to turn it around on you for a second, but to make theater journalism youthful and accessible and fun and candid, we need more of it. So thank you. Thank you for keeping it alive here and abroad. It's the fandom and the love of it and the continued love of it needs somebody like you.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was very nice to meet you.
It was great to meet you.
Thank
you, Mickey. Thank you so much. We'll shake hands, and we will shake hands. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for listening to this interview. Thank you to Andrew and everyone at We Had a World in New York City Centre for allowing us to come and chat. Let me know in the comments who you would like me to chat to next, either in the US or the UK. Make sure you're subscribed right here on YouTube or following me on podcast platforms. And I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day.
For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!